Welcome to Chicago Bulls Chat with C-Red UK. This podcast is part of the Fans First Sports Network. Wherever or however you're listening, make sure to rate, review and subscribe. It helps us out and means you never miss another episode. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave some comments for us to get back to. And for all the C-Red UK action, check out the Discord channel and across the socials. Now, over to your hosts, Matt Hearn and Neill Dunn. Hello and welcome to another Chicago Bulls chat with myself, Neill Dunn. No Matt today, just me. But he's tied up with a few different things, but I couldn't let it go without jumping on and saying a little bit about the big change. Obviously, we were promised change. We were promised we would see something happen, and it's happened. Unfortunately, we've had to say goodbye to Alex Caruso. We did say that was the move that we could see happening. He was our biggest bargaining chip. Really made sense to move him. Did not want to see him go. Absolutely loved Alex Caruso. But from a business perspective and from a basketball management perspective, it made sense to move him on and see what they could get for him. The problem is that there's a lot of people out there that don't like this trade. They're not very happy with what they got back for it. Now, the move is a straight up trade, player for player, Josh Giddey for Alex Caruso. So AC's heading down to OKC, which makes a lot of sense for the Thunder and for Alex. It makes a lot of sense to go down there. They're already a top-seeded team in the West and pretty strong defensively. You throw Alex Caruso into that mix and you have got a really, really lethal combination down there, especially defensively. And with SGA playing the way he played last season, if he continues that kind of form, the Thunder are going to be a serious contender going into next season. So, look, before I get into the details of the actual trade itself, I just want to say Alex has been incredible to watch. I've absolutely loved watching him play. I think most Bulls fans absolutely fell in love with Alex Caruso and his work ethic. Real Chicago-style player, hustle on defense, really started to turn it on offensively last season too. And on a personal note, my daughter's favorite player. Came home from my work trip last night, which is why this is delayed doing this pod. And she cried her eyes out when I told her that he was gone. So, I have a personal connection to that and sad to see him go. I'm sporting my Alex Caruso jersey today for it as well. So, I'm all in on Alex, but at the same time, I hope he does well. I really hope that he flourishes even more down in OKC. And who knows, he may even get a chip down there. Now, Josh Giddey. Okay, Josh Giddey for Alex Caruso. I can see it. I can see the sense in it. It doesn't save us an awful lot of cap space. It does, however, give us a younger player. Now, the downside of it is, of course, the fact that he's on an expiring contract the exact same way that AC was. So we're not really gaining anything in the long term that way, unless we manage to get him on a reasonable deal at the end of or towards the end of the season. However, the way I look at that is it kind of gives him the opportunity to prove himself and to answer any doubters that might be out there and show what he can do. And if he does show that he fits into the system here or helps with this, what is going to be potentially a rebuild going forward, then I think that could work out okay. I mean, and it puts us in a situation where we can sit back and look exactly where we are financially towards the middle or towards the end of the season and see where it goes and decide what they want to do from there. But I don't actually hate the move. I know Josh Giddey has his failings and he also has his positives, and we'll go through those in a moment. But I do not hate the trade, as in what we've got back player-wise. What I do hate, and I really hate it, is you're doing a deal with the Thunder, who have a plethora of picks. They have a huge amount of picks, and you come away with no draft compensation out of that trade whatsoever. Nothing. Alex Caruso is a second team all defense, first team last season beforehand. We know he's an elite defender. We know how he affects the team. Would have loved to have seen him stay in Chicago and go on to become a coach. Maybe that could still happen down the road. Who knows? But to get zero draft compensation out of this trade, it just seems insane to me. It just seems like they really dropped the ball on this. Surely they could have pushed for more. I mean, Alex was worthy of more than just Josh Giddey, in my opinion. Not that I'm saying I'm against the trade altogether, because I'm not, but I definitely think that they've been the loser out of this trade, certainly initially. And it's a trade that you can analyze straight away. You can look at it straight away for it because there is no draft compensation. You're getting player for player, and pound for pound. When you put that on paper, OKC are getting a better deal out of it than we are. Now, to move on to what I do like about it, first and foremost, we don't have great rebounding other than the likes of defensively. We know Vooch can grab the boards, but offensively he's not particularly good. And we had Drummond, who is more than likely going to be leaving as well. Josh Giddey is a pretty good rebounder. He's pretty strong, and once he gets the ball, he can go. He can turn that into, especially if it's a defensive rebound, he can turn it into an offensive transition very, very quickly. His passing is elite. It is absolutely phenomenal. If you don't realize how good a passer he is, go back and look at some of his highlights that are out there. Some of the passes that he can pull off are absolutely sensational. So the distribution of the ball is going to be something that we'll be watching to come out of from him. The question I have is, does that make him kind of a future replacement possibly for Zoe? I mean, we know Lonzo's talking about coming back. At this stage, we don't really know what kind of a level of play we're going to get out of him, what kind of player he's going to be, if he even comes back at all. But what I do see with Josh Giddey is he is that kind of almost replacement for Lonzo. Now, again, I'm not doing a comparison to Lonzo. I'm saying from a perspective of being a player that likes to have the ball in his hands, who likes to distribute the ball, he likes to create for others. That being said, he does not have the 3-point skill set that Lonzo has. He is not a comfortable 3-point shooter. He's not totally incapable, but he's not great by any stretch of the imagination. He's just not necessarily an offensive threat. And he is still young, and that could very well come. So, we do know that the front office have put in place a development team that wasn't there previously. They've been building more on that in the offseason as well. So let's hope that they can earn their money and turn someone like Josh Giddey into more of an offensive threat. Because, I mean, if Josh can put it down and become a bit more of an offensive threat going forward, then all of a sudden he looks a little bit more intriguing, right? I mean, you've got this player that can rebound the ball, can carry the ball, distribute the ball, and then he becomes a scoring threat as well. And all of a sudden it becomes a much better looking trade. The big theory and fear coming from people at the moment is the fact that he can't score, he doesn't score. But let's give it a little bit of time. Let's see how it goes. Let's give him this season. I think it's a prove it season for him. Like I say, it doesn't do much for us cap wise, but I think this is showing that this is a stepping stone. For me, this comes across like, okay, this is move one. There will be more. And by all accounts, out there at the moment, the rumors are, and this has even come from Casey Johnson in the latest Bulls talk, the Bulls have been pushing to trade Zach. They've been looking for avenues they can go down, for moves they can make with Zach. At the moment, nothing has turned up well or turned up the way they want it to. But that doesn't mean that it won't happen. If they keep pushing and pushing and trying to find the right move, eventually the move is going to be out there. And they will hopefully make a move for Zach. Now, like that, it could be very similar to this trade where you feel like you've been hard done by. You feel like maybe that you should have got a little bit more than you have. And I think that's what we need to expect from a Zach trade. So it could be a similar sort of move to this. But the big thing with the move with Zach is I'm hoping that will be the area where they pick up some picks. That will be the area, that will be the move where they clear some cap space. But that's down the road, and we'll see how that all pans out. So one of the other areas that I'd like to talk about is triple doubles, because Josh Giddey has had 11 triple doubles in the past 3 years. The Bulls have had 3. 2 triple doubles from Vooch and 1 from Zoe. Now, that's incredible. I mean, unfortunately, it highlights the shortfallings of the Bulls, but it also shows us that we could be bringing in somebody that can make some sort of an impact in regards to stats anyway moving forward. And if that can transpire to affect games and affect the way things go on the floor, then I'm all for that. The other thing I'd just like to touch on quickly with Giddey, and then this is not for me to be preaching too much, but I just want to throw this out there. A lot of people are bringing up the accusations that were made about him there. Was it last season in the off season? I think it was, and they were talking about him being with a minor. Look, he was cleared. It turned out that she wasn't a minor. This has all been cleared off the books. The names, the insults. Look, you do you, but I think that needs to just be put to bed and forgotten about. Let's just move on and rate him for who he is as a basketball player and not a past that was found out to be null and void. All right. Anyway, off my soapbox. The fear I have, let's just say that, okay, whether Zach stays or goes is by the by. But if DeMar stays, we all know that DeMar DeRozan likes to have the ball in his hands. Unfortunately, Josh Giddey needs the ball in his hands. So how's that going to work? Well, there's only two ways that works, really. And that's one, that DeMar either shares the ball with Giddey or more so steps off the ball a lot more and lets the ball be in Giddey's hands. Now, I know a lot of people are going to go, oh, no, but DeMar needs the ball. Right. DeMar did it when Zoe was playing. And it worked. We all saw how much it worked, right? So let's hope that he's prepared to step back and let Giddey run the offense. And if Giddey runs the offense, that makes him more effective because he's pretty ineffective off ball. And it also frees up DeMar to move around a little bit more fluidly around the court if he stays. But I do think, depending on what other moves are made over the very near future, I think this could potentially highlight the departure of DeMar as well. Not only because the fit's not quite there, but more so because I don't think DeMar is going to be prepared to go through a rebuild. And this is pointing more and more towards that. The next move will really show the direction, I think, a little bit more, whether that move comes before or after the draft. And the draft itself is also going to be an interesting prospect now to see what kind of a player do they pick at 11 and how does that fit in with Josh Giddey and how will that fit in with the rest of the landscape and moving forward. Does that create space for other players to depart? Until then, I guess we just have to wait and watch. We are getting very, very close. I'm recording this on Saturday afternoon Irish time, which is early morning in the States. And the draft is on Wednesday night, which is Thursday morning for us at 1 a.m. And Thursday, then it's on a little bit earlier. I think it's 9 p.m. on Irish time. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. If there's any more moves or any more changes, either myself or Matt, or if we're lucky and we can both manage to get our wives to allow us to record at the same time, we'll jump on together. And until then, we will keep you posted as best we can throughout the socials. As always, thanks for joining in. Thanks for tuning in. You can find me on Twitter at Neill UK, and you can find us all at UK across the socials and on Twitter. On behalf of myself and, of course, Matt, who couldn't be here today, and the Fans First Sports Network, thanks once again to all of you for tuning in. From C-Red UK, do remember, it's a Chicago Bulls thing wherever in the world you are. Until next time, C-Red and go Bulls.